Okay, playoffs have started, so I need everyone to do something with me real quick. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, we good now? That's good, because I've got my bracket up. We got the playoffs underway. I've got soup. What are you going to say about it? And I've chosen two series, like an idiot, to cover throughout the first round of the playoffs that'll continue onwards. If my teams don't make it, then I just get to pick new teams to follow. So I'm going to be bandwagoning all over the place. It's going to be great. But for this first one, I decided to jump on the bandwagon of a team that I really do not like, the Florida Panthers. Because the Battle of Florida is going on, and I'm sorry, the broadcast team is not the team itself. And I don't get the broadcast team that the Florida Panthers usually have, so I'm laughing. Which brings us to game one of this series between the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's get into it. First period. The Florida Panthers ended up really taking a physical game, and when I say physical, I mean physical. There were hits all over the place. Everyone was getting into the dirty spots just to get hit. A lot of people were trying, I think, to draw a hit from behind boarding penalty, but it didn't happen because, of course, if it's a rivalry game, the refs are going to swallow their whistle. It's the way that the playoffs go. But the domination in the first period was strictly for the Panthers. In the first 15 minutes of the game, Tampa Bay was held to no goals, no shots. Well, you know, they're both the same thing. No shots, no goals. You don't get goals if you don't shoot at the net. You get what I'm saying. Either way, Florida will score first. Forsling takes a shot, it goes towards the net, but it looks like it's kind of going wide. Thankfully, Reinhardt's there. And Reinhardt just kind of lifts the stick a little bit. Puck hits the stick, goes into the back of the net. It kind of tipped upwards, so it went underneath the arm, the glove side arm of Vasilevsky and into the back of the net. That's our first goal of the series. We move on. Now, I say that the Tampa Bay Lightning were held to no shots for the first 15 minutes, but in the last 5 minutes, they really turned things around, and they ended up scoring a goal. It's like the whole situation, why they're called the Lightning in the first place. Lightning strikes fast, lightning strikes hard, and it's always really quick. There's a face-off beside Bobrovsky on the left side of him. Tampa Bay wins the puck. It slides back to a player who's already up in the air like this, waiting for the one-timer. He gets that shot away. It doesn't go in. It hits the pad of Bobrovsky. It shoots out to the left side. One of the Tampa Bay Lightning players, I don't remember who it was, one of the blue and white jersey people, takes the shot from a hard angle and it hits the pad of Bobrovsky, and it comes out to the slot where Hagel's sitting there. He gets the puck and he just rips it home into the empty net. I want to get to the second period, but first I got to be a hypocrite because Florida, again, if you're new here, my beef with the broadcasters, it started before this, but it really picked up here. There was a play in a game between the Coyotes and the Panthers where one of the Panthers held their stick up, the puck hit the stick and bounced down, and the broadcast team went absolutely bonkers for it. And yeah, it's impressive. It's hand-eye coordination. They get paid to do that. That's the way I look at it. It also wasn't really a hard shot. So here's where I get to be a hypocrite. Tampa Bay tries to clear the zone. They launch it, and it's launched fast. Florida, one of the players held up their stick. But it wasn't just like a anticipation motion. It was they had to actively get it there, which really better shows off the hand-eye coordination. Swats the puck out midair, holds the zone. I thought that was impressive. I thought if the Florida team was covering this, that's something that they could have absolutely done what they did in that last game. We get to the second period. Nothing really of note happened-ish. Like, if you compare all three of the periods, this one was probably the most boring one. Tampa Bay basically took a turn into the driver's seat. They were really hemming the Panthers, and they were really making Bobrovsky work at this point. It went from they had 0 shots and up until the last 5 minutes of the period to they were coming back and looking like they were about to tie for shots, which is good for them, bad for me because I picked a stupid team apparently. I don't want Dumba to go far. Are you kidding? Either way, at the end of the period, Tampa Bay goes on a penalty kill that gets carried over to the third. So we get into the third. Barkov's got the puck. He's sitting there, sitting pretty, looking around all over the place. Verhaeghe's at the point. and he skates through. Barkov is just stick tapping, stick handling, whatever. He's not moving at all. I think if Tampa Bay had put a bit of a forecheck on, they would have possibly prevented this, or if they were all not puck watching. Verhaeghe slides into the crease, and Barkov passes the puck. It's an easy tip in. There you go. I should point out the goalies on both sides were absolutely insane. Earlier in this game, Tampa Bay's goaltender, I believe it's Vasilevsky. It is Vasilevsky. Either way, he loses his stick, which is not good. But he makes a save anyway, and it was a very much desperation save. He looked like he was panicking. Puck came to him. It hits the chest, and he kind of hugs it. The reason I say that's impressive, and I know like there's a lot of people, and myself included on some occasions, I'd say it's something different. It's that idea of familiarity. If you don't have your stick, you're not whole. You're not complete. So you kind of start to lose your game a bit. And kudos to Vasilevsky for not letting that happen. Bobrovsky, I think, was the way better goaltender, though. There was a lot of times where he was left to desperation, and his desperation looked planned. Case in point, there was one point where he was slid out of the crease, and that was basically an empty net. He managed to get back in and make the saves that he had to. Tkachuk buries the empty netter from the point, but then the Tampa Bay Lightning will score to bring it up 2-3 with 8 seconds left to go, which they actually added a second, a bit under a second actually, onto the clock, so they had 9 seconds to work to try and make the equalizer. It didn't happen. That's the game. And for this series, because it's a rivalry series, I'm doing something a bit different. I've got scrum count and I've got fight count. Scrum count is where they all collect after the whistle and they kind of push and shove a bit, but there's no real like dropping of the mitts and you go like that. And then fight count, we don't talk about it. Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we do. Because hockey has to hockey when two players decide to actually drop the gloves and duke it out. In this game, there were 4 scrums, which I thought was really low, and 0 fights, which I thought was really, really low. My guess is the teams are trying to get a feeler for each other, and then we're going to see some fireworks as the series goes on. Especially if, just for the sake of argument, Florida goes up 3-0. Tampa Bay might not they might have a lot to say about that. So as far as I'm concerned, where the violence stuff is concerned, stay tuned because it's only going to get worse from here. So that's this game. Tomorrow, I've got Edmonton versus LA. I'm going to be covering that as an Oilers fan because it's my second team. It's not really bandwagon. I didn't really leave them. I kind of left them. It's fine. We don't keep hockey here. So I'll be back for that one. In the meantime, stay howling. Go whatever Utah's going to call themselves. Hopefully it has something to do with dogs so I don't have to change that first part. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, there's more playoffs left to go. You can hit the like button. You can also hit the subscribe button if you want to see more stuff like this. If you didn't like it, well, that's too bad. Share this with your friends. They might want to hear some playoff stuff from someone who totally knows a whole lot about hockey. Yep, That's why he's a YOTES fan. That's why he cheers for these guys that don't even exist anymore. I'll be back.